Hello and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews.
I was only 17 when she looked at me that way. Seems like yesterday.
And I'm Gary. And today we're going to review and discuss Needful Things, which released in 1993, based on the novel by Stephen King, with an adaptation by W.D. Richter, and directed by Fraser C. Heston. Iain, why don't you give us the synopsis?
Well, in the small town of Castle Rock, Maine, a new shop has opened called Needful Things, run by Leland Gaunt, played by Max von Sydow. Leland has everything everybody in the town has ever wanted, and all he wants in return is for them to do little pranks on each other for the exchange. But as more of the townsfolk become customers, the pranks start to become more violent and more dangerous until the sheriff, played by Ed Harris, realizes that Mr. Gaunt may not be all human.
Hi, my name is Dan, and I'm here to blow up your fucking town!
So this is from the director's Charlton Heston's son.
Yeah.
And he was actually asked by the studio to make a theatrical release, but then also make a TV miniseries cut of the film that would be up to 4 hours long. I believe that the extended version was available in Germany only for a limited time.
Why the Germans?
I don't know. Maybe they were like, they'll eat anything. I don't know. But it was just widely unavailable. It is now become available to purchase again now. But for the most part, everyone would have been aware of just the theatrical 2-hour runtime. And I'll also say that is the version that we've watched for this review as well.
Yeah. Wow, it was difficult. I was a bit apprehensive to sit down and watch this because I've seen it like once, twice.
In the late 90s was the last time I saw this.
Yeah, like I'm a big fan of Stephen King, but as I was watching more of his stuff, particularly the stuff that was, adapted to, like, I didn't see a lot of it in the cinema. A lot of the times his stuff would be on TV late at night, and I'm like, oh, it's done by Stephen King.
That's because a lot of them were also just made for TV adaptations as well, so of course.
And I wasn't jumping on every single one of his books, but, it's done by Stephen King. Oh, I need to watch it. And so then watching this for the review, the third time I've ever watched it, I was like, I don't remember it being very good.
I always remember it being pretty mid. I've always rated it sort of in the middle. Like, it's not awful, but it wasn't that memorable either.
Yeah. And so I was more looking forward to revisiting it. And, you're looking at the cast. Max von Sydow, Ed Harris, Bonnie Bedelia, fucking John McClane's wife. You've got Amanda Plummer. And I totally forgot how good he is. J.T. Walsh.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he pretty much steals this film for all the scenes he's in.
Yeah. And we start off with this black car roaring to Castle Rock. It just looks evil.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's also the music that's selling you on this as well. You're just like, this dramatic intro.
And the sound of the engine almost sounds like an animal roaring as it's shooting past. There's little audio cues in it that you're like, And we've got Amanda Plummer working in the local cafe who plays Nettie Cobb, and she talks about how there's a new store opening up, Needful Things, and they're all really excited about who's coming to town.
Exactly. Yeah, we get the sense that it's a small community and everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
And of course, when an outsider comes into town, of course, there's going to be gossip.
Yeah.
But I do like there's a lot of characters in the book, in the novel, of course, and a lot of those characters are kind of brushed aside for the theatrical version of this film. You will see them in the background, and they were in the extended cut, of course. But we do get nice little bits of characterization that very quickly establishes who all these people are. They are, if you've ever seen a Stephen King movie, you know this town. You already know all these people.
Yeah.
And their backstories.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
I mean, the moment you hear the name Castle Rock, that's his main town, right? That's where everybody is. I know you've heard of Derry. Derry's literally just down the road, but everything seems to be situated in Castle Rock. And part of me, when I was sitting down and watching this, I was just like, okay, just remember, Iain, they're actually alive. This isn't like a purgatory or anything. They're not already dead. We've got Ed Harris, playing Sheriff Alan Pangborn, you know, and
he's gearing up to propose to one of the waitresses at the diner, but we know he's nervous. He ends up showing it to Nettie Cobb, and she's all excited for him.
Yeah, because he's wanting to give it to Polly, who's played by Bonnie Bedelia. And one of the things that actually they didn't establish with her, or I might have missed it early on, was the issue that she has with her hands.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Because we find out that Polly's got, like, severe arthritis in her hands.
Yeah.
But the film is also pretty inconsistent with it.
Yeah, that's
it's
it.
like, sometimes she's like, I don't shake my hand. I can't shake hands because arthritis. Yeah, another scene, she's walking around with teapot and cup and saucer. And
Well,
I'm
this
like,
was it. When they first established
did they
her
forget?
in this cafe and she's talking to him and he's going to show her the ring. I must have been looking at my notepads when she first brought it up. But it wasn't until she meets, you know, Max von Sydow later on. And she's like, I've got bad arthritis. I'm like, do you have that earlier? Because I don't remember. But we're getting introduced to Leland Gaunt. You know, we get this little boy, Brian, who rides up to the store and he gets this old lady who kind of like, why aren't you in school? And he's like, I've got a cold.
Oh, okay,
Speeding around the dirt paths on that bike. And he walks into the store and the store is really empty. And, you know, there's a few little things. And then all of a sudden, boom, Max von Sydow is like there. You know, the priest from The Exorcist. But he's also just kind of oozing evil at this point.
He is, but he is so damn charismatic.
Yes.
And so approachable. He's like everybody's idyllic granddad.
Yeah.
And that is the sort of relationship that he has with this kid as well, where he's just like, come on, all right, what do you want? If there's one thing in your life that you want, one wish you could have, something material that I might have in this store of needful things. And he's like, oh, me and my dad, we collected all these baseball cards, but we never got this one card that we've always wanted, and it's so rare now. And he's like, well, I'll go down to the basement and see what I can rustle up.
Yeah.
I believe I might have something that will make you very happy, Brian. Stay right here.
And he pulls out this signed Mickey Mantle baseball card with "To my good friend Brian," and it just seems so perfect. There's no way that he could have this thing here right now for Brian. Maybe it was signed for Brian, maybe it was signed for another Brian. It just so happened to be in possession.
But I also liked how he's just like, no, don't tell me how much money's in your pocket. Like, that's not going to work. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
Like, you tell me how much you think it's worth and we'll work something out. And I like that they're counting the pennies and he's just like, it's not really enough, but I might let you take it, but you're going to have to do me a favor.
Yeah. Now, I started to notice my little issue with this film, I suppose, but this TV series broken into a film, is the fact that you would have cutaways in the middle of it. So, like, while Brian and Mr. Gaunt are having the chat about this card, it will cut away and try to establish Ed Harris's character with Polly so that you kind of follow them and you go, hey, this is the hero. Then it's going to jump all the way back to Leland and the boy still talking about this fucking card. Right. And you're like, right, okay, you could have flowed a little bit better.
I agree. And it's also like, it's early on in the film, so you're still kind of getting settled into it. But it's when you look back at it and you go, the film had pacing issues. And when you mentioned the intercutting of different scenes, to help the film flow better, it actually ruins the pacing of the film and makes the 2-hour runtime feel like you're watching the mini-series version. So it just feels really long-winded. And also, this film has a very repetitive nature. Also, if you've never seen this, you can also imagine that we're following Leland. He's a shop owner. People are going to come in and buy weird things and then leave.
Yeah.
And that's what happens for the next 2 hours. We watch different people come into the shop, have a wander around, have a chat with Leland, and then leave with something.
Yeah, because he just convinces everybody that, you know, even when they walk past the store and just look in the window, something is in the window that they have kind of always wanted.
Yeah, and we already got the sense that Leland was supernatural. He was not human.
Yeah.
We know he's the devil, or he's some kind of agent of the Crimson King. You know, he's here to do some nasty work.
Yeah.
And that's when we start to realize that there's the people in the town, they've all got little grudges with each other. One of the first things Ed Harris is called to go and investigate is that the church has been getting these horrible letters from somebody else. And he's like, oh, it's the other church that's giving us these horrible messages. So we already know that there's grudges and there's animosity within the townspeople. It's a tight-knit community. Everybody likes or hates each other and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Leland, the shopkeeper, is his he is an agent of chaos, and he's literally here to antagonize and get everybody wound up against the people that they really hate.
Yeah.
And I feel like this film struggles to really get into the psychology of this hatred. So it just feels very surface level.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't want to get into the age-old argument of book versus film.
Yeah.
But the Stephen King book is absolutely gigantic, and it spends pages and pages and pages explaining why the characters feel the way they do.
Yeah.
And this film is trying to keep the pace going, but it doesn't give us enough character development to understand really why these people hate each other.
Yeah, but this is it. Like you said, we've got like Ed Harris's character, the sheriff. You start to realize, because he's the hero, he's an outsider. Everybody else in this town has lived here all their lives or whatever, and moved in here, to get away from certain things. Like Nettie Cobb, Amanda Plummer's character, has escaped from an abusive relationship where she killed her husband. Leland Gaunt basically explains that to her face, like, oh yeah, were you the one who stabbed your husband in the neck with a fork? It's like,
he knows everybody inside and out.
Yeah, he knows already. But with Sheriff Allen, Ed Harris, you're like, okay, we get a little bit of information of him being this outsider, but it's not enough to explain why or where or what makes him so special to be immune to it. But then, like Gary said, I'm experienced with King. I just look at it and go, oh, he's like the guy from the Tommyknockers with the metal plate in his head. He's got this special power. He's like the kids from It who are able to remember the clown, and the evil doesn't get to him. So he is like, he walks into the store and there's nothing Leland can give him.
So what can I sell you, Sheriff?
Me? Oh, nothing. I got everything I need, thanks.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he says as much. He was like, no, I got everything I need.
Yeah, and it kind of throws Leland off that he's the only one. But then we also start to find out as the film progresses that Leland has been around for centuries, and he's done this in many different places where disasters have slowly happened. And like, I love Amanda Plummer's character, Nettie Cobb, where she goes in and she sees this tiny little figurine, and it's exactly like the one that she used to have when she was married. And I liked how the filming went, where she was talking to Gaunt and the camera was kind of at an angle, and then as she walked around the room and the camera came back and kind of expanded out, there was the statue. So it's like, it kind of said to you, it wasn't there first.
Yeah.
But it slowly appeared just for her.
It's like, it's because Leland knows exactly how to he knows the needful things that these people need or want.
Yeah.
And so he's just dangling it there for them. And he knows that these people can't necessarily afford these trinkets. So he bargains with them and he calls in favors, which he'll ask of them at a later date. Now, we've already had Nettie, who has got her dog. And then you've also got Wilma, who is the turkey farmer, who for whatever reason hates Nettie because of her dog's barking. But we never exactly got that set up, so we just take her word on it.
Yeah.
And then we find out that Brian, the kid who got the baseball card, has been sent to Wilma's place and starts throwing apples through her windows.
Well,
after he has also thrown mud and turkey shit all over
her white sheets.
That's right. Now, there was a little continuity error here where he was throwing the apples and you can see the purple liner at the bottom. And then on the next shot, it's gone as he gets the last apple. So I was like, wait a minute. But there was also a repeat shot of one of the windows being broken twice. And on top of that, you see the interior, you see the plants, the vases. And then in the next shot, it's completely different.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what, it's fine. It's a little montage of everything being broken. It's fine.
Yeah.
But that's just a sense of like, it seems like these mini pranks to begin with, but things are slowly escalating.
Well, like you said, we haven't really established why Wilma hates Rita, the dog of Amanda Plummer's character. But because Amanda Plummer is such a great actress, whenever the dog is threatened and she starts to get upset or angry, you really feel, oh my God, this Wilma's a really, really bad lady. But as the film goes on, Wilma doesn't really do anything bad. Everything happens to her. And you go, shit, she really got the shot. Like her husband's so fucking innocent. He just walked around feeding the turkeys. Like no problem. Like J.T. Walsh's character, Danforth.
He's like the town mayor.
Yeah, Danforth Keaton, but everybody calls him Buster, which he absolutely hates. And he's having a feud with the deputy, who, you know, is underneath Ed Harris's kind of bossingness. And he's gambling. You know, J.T. Walsh is a heavy gambler, and he's taken money out of the funds for the town and has put it on the horses, and he's lost it, but he's hoping to get the money back, and Ed Harris has found out about this. So then Leland kind of gets that information as well and lures, you know, Danforth into the shop, and he's just like, yeah, I've got this like horse racing toy, and it's so special because if you touch each one and say the name of all the horses that you're planning on the betting, and whoever wins, then you'll be able to bet on it. So then Danforth's like, yeah, okay, awesome, I'll be able to do that. And so he's bought into that. But like you said, you've had Brian do the pranks on Wilma, and then you've got not Wilma, sorry. You've got Nettie, who's been assigned by Leland to break into Danforth's house and slap pink slips all around his house saying about all the horrible stuff he's done. You've got this drunk guy from the bar called Hugh, who's been lured in over his special jacket that he's had back in high school, but he's been gifted a knife because he's going to go and kill Rita the Rottweiler, Amanda Plummer's dog. So then that gets blamed on Wilma. And then Wilma's going to find all of her windows smashed by the apples by Brian again. I liked how...
And because Wilma saw Nettie in the diner chopping apples, making her famous apple pie, immediately assumes it's her. So basically Leland is getting all the townspeople's wires crossed as to who's blaming who for what.
Yeah. But I also liked how, you know, after Brian did the shit throwing stuff, and then he threw the apple, when you kind of saw him, he kind of looked a bit drained.
Yeah.
You know, it was like his life force was being sucked out, or he kind of was just in the thrall of Leland.
Well, it's when we find out, because to jump a little bit later, Ed Harris confronts Brian outside of the murder scene.
Yeah.
And Brian is unable to say anything. And then the following day, when Sheriff Allen finds Brian, he's just like, you wanted to tell me something, you seem scared. And Brian's like, I've hardly been sleeping. I see him in my dreams.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
Yes,
So
yes.
whether we believe that Leland is pretty much a soul sucker of some description, you know, or some energy vampire. And Brian, for whatever reason, has seen his true face and knows what he is.
Yeah.
And eventually is, drawn to put the gun to his head and pull the trigger.
Yeah, he tries to commit suicide.
In the book, he follows through with that. But at the time this film was being made, the studio was like, no. I mean, there's no more of that in these films.
Well, the way it was filmed is kind of funny because he's going to do it. Ed Harris, you know, talks him down. He's a really great actor, able to get to it as close to the boy as he can, and then as he lunges for him, the gun goes off, and then it cuts to him coming and meeting Polly, and he's just like, yeah, you know, Brian just tried to kill himself, but I was there. And I'm like, but he didn't kill himself, you stopped him, so you should feel good about himself. But the film's trying to imply that Ed Harris's character has just seen this boy kill himself because it's supposed to be the horror.
But the reason why all of this has happened was because Nettie has come home to find her dog. And it is the grossest
horrible
horror scene in the entire 2-hour film.
Yeah.
Where we see this skinned dog dangling from something as it throws through the door. And you're like, oh my God, I felt so bad for Amanda Plummer. She is a wonderful actress.
Yeah.
And she's such a vulnerable character in this. You feel really bad for her. So when she goes and grabs the knife, you're just like, yeah, you would.
Well, the dog was super innocent in it all. You know, the dog hadn't done anything. And, yeah, okay, Wilma had been giving him shit. It didn't seem like she would really go out of her way to do something like that. Hugh, though, oh no, Hugh's a bit of a fucking psychopath. He just needs to be pushed really in the right direction. And so, yeah, you do get that confrontation between, you know, Nettie and Wilma at the farmhouse. Knife versus fucking meat cleaver. Hell of a fight.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
You know, it was really turned up the movie. I was like, oh, I'm awake now, okay.
yeah, this was quite a highlight. And they do stab each other, and they do both end up going out the window, and they both impale each other, cleaver in the head, knife through the chest, and they're both dead. And that's the crime scene later where Ed Harris turns up and meets Brian and so on.
I thought one of the best scenes as well, leading up to the attack there, is where everybody keeps coming into the store And so you've got Max von Sydow writing
all the names in his black book.
Name in his little black book. But when you first see the close-up, he's got these kind of elongated claws that when you notice when he's talking to other people, he's kind of missing. But I also...
Same for his teeth.
His teeth change as well. And I think his eyes slightly change colour as well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's really... It's
subtle.
Yeah, it's not a lot. It's just a little bit because then he'll change back, you know, and he's still human. And he starts to kind of lure Polly as well. He confronts Polly. She hasn't been to the store yet. And she's locking up the little cafe, the little diner. And he's just there. He's sat there. And she's scared. How did you get in there? And she starts talking about her arthritis hands and how she has to take these pills. And he applies this necklace to her. Now, every time everybody touched something from the store, they got kind of a flash. You know, Hugh kind of saw himself in the 1950s. Amanda Plummer's character saw her relationship with her husband. And with Polly, she sees like the sexual situation. She's going to end up with Max von Sydow.
Yeah. This was all made up for the TV adaptation. Then the sexual perviness of Leland's not in the book that I remember. Because after she's had the thing for a while and she starts playing with it and she's like, I want to know what's inside it.
Yeah.
Ed Harris is just like, where did you get that? You got that from Leland? Well, I've already got my suspicions after talking to Brian. You need to take that thing off. But she's protective of it because it's healed her hands or reversed the arthritis. But in the book, if I remember... she does continue to try to figure out what's inside it, and a giant spider emerges from it, which she has to fight off.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, well, I guess with the budget of this TV movie, they come to kind of like, no, we'll just have a romance scene instead, where Leland turns up in her house at night.
She takes... I thought the scene was pretty good, actually, because she was skeptical about the necklace. She takes it off. She tries to open it. It shocks her. And then you hear the sound effect of her bones and her hands coming out.
Yeah.
And Bonnie Bedelia, works it really well that you can see that she's in pain and she's trying to put the necklace back on because the pain's so overbearing. And then all of a sudden Leland is there. And as Gary said, he's been so charismatic. There's something weird about him because there's no way he could just get in the house and be there. But he can't help but... he's chatting to her and he's putting the necklace on and she's got no top on and I got distracted. What were we talking about again? Yeah, exactly.
Right. So what I also like about this film is that we know Leland is the devil. He's a demon. He's a monster. He's causing chaos. Being like, most of the people in this town are pretty awful.
Yes.
So I'm going to be on this team. I'm Team Leland. Like, you know what? Cause anarchy. These people have got it coming.
No, that's a bit far, really. I mean...
that's how I felt the film kind of invites you in. And maybe it's just because it is Max von Sydow, who is just so damn good.
You are right. Yeah, most of the townsfolk have got some kind of dark side. And that, I suppose, works in the favour for Ed Harris's character because... He has done something bad in the past, but he's redeeming himself. And so that's why Leland's got no hooks to hook into him. But people like the Hugh character, I feel like he might have had a car accident when you see him and he's speeding and he's drinking and he's like, oh, I lost everything. It's just like, oh, maybe you killed all your friends. J.T. Walsh's character is just like, he's a thief. He's massively a thief. And Leland really gets his hooks into him. Yeah,
the desperation when he's there with his toy horse racing. His wife's like, hello. Like,
yeah.
He's like, God damn it, woman, I'm working in here. And but he ends up turning up at Leland's house, like J.T. Walsh. He's like, they're after me. They're all after me. They all know that I've taken the money now.
Yeah.
It's like the desperation, the anxiety. Like, he falls apart instantly during this film, and it is a train wreck of a performance, but it is also fascinating and kind of amazing.
Well, it's the little things, isn't it? He has the gun, but Leland takes the gun off him, and that's the gun he gives to Brian. And then later on, he goes home, and he gets handcuffed, doesn't he? Because he has the fight with the deputy.
That's right, yeah.
And then he escapes, and he goes home, and he has the confrontation with his wife, and then he murders his wife. And then he goes back to Leland and he's like, I murdered my wife. And Leland's like, I know, here's a bomb. I need you to go and plant the bomb by the church.
And it's our house, Buster.
I absolutely love the two priest characters in this. I mean, I recognize both of them. You know, the Boulder guy, I'm pretty sure, was in X-Files.
Twin Peaks. Yeah.
And the other one, I remember his voice because he's the bloody prison officer for Star Trek Undiscovered Country when they take Kirk to the Klingon prison. And these two priests, I think, are brilliant because they're both Christians, Catholics. I don't know religion. Please don't judge me. Only God can judge me, and I'm a god, so you know. But these two, like, they're like at each other's throats over like who's the most Catholic priestessy priest in there. But then they both get lured by Leland. You know, one ends up with a sexual toy or something.
Yeah. The other one ends up slashing the other guy's tires.
Yeah, and they just they're constantly having this confrontation as well. So then when JT Walsh sneaks the bomb into the church or buries it outside, and then Ed Harris is confronting the priest inside, the bomb blows up. And the priest is like, well, it's the other priest. I need to go and fight him because he's blown up my church. And the other priest is like, oh, he did a horrible thing to us. And it just absolutely accumulates to the entire town rioting. But only small because we're on a TV budget. So we only have like this one
But then
shot.
you got all these other people. You're like, who are all these people? I don't know. But that's because, well, they're cut for runtime.
That's it. Hugh had after he'd killed the dog, come to see Leland. Leland's given him a shotgun, so he goes back to the bar, and then him and the bartender blow each other away.
Hugh Priest, I think, is the one character that really had it coming, especially as we know he's the one who killed the dog.
Yes,
so it's a shame that the bartender got taken out, but it's fine.
Well, it's like him and JT Walsh. I'm like, JT Walsh is evil as well. He needs to be taken out. And so you have Ed Harris trying to stop the entire town from going crazy because he points out Leland and he's just like, he's behind this all. He's done it all. He did it to you all. And Leland stood there. And Max von Sydow was like, no, don't listen to him. Kill each other. Go on. Kill each other. No? Oh. And then he comes to cross JT Walsh. JT Walsh, you know, Danforth comes out and he's got a bomb on his chest and he's planning on blowing up the store or the town or God knows what. But by this stage, like I said, by 2 hours, you're wanting a really big climactic ending, but you're kind of just like, man, I just need the film to finish now.
Yeah,
Tired for now.
The anarchy in the streets outside is a bit lackluster.
Yeah.
It's like all this build-up for this little amount of chaos here.
Yeah.
Didn't really feel like that was worth it. But yeah, I mean, eventually JT Walsh ends up just grabbing Leland, flying through the window, and then the bomb explodes.
This is it as well. Like, I love Ed Harris. I think Ed Harris is great. I love The Abyss and all that kind of shit. But when he's giving his big speech at the end, I'm listening to him and I'm like, he's bringing the whole town together. This is really great. But it's JT Walsh who saves the day because as soon as fucking Leland starts calling him Buster and giving him grief, Danforth turns around with his bomb vest, jumps on Leland through the window and blows up the whole entire store.
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I love a good explosion.
You do love a good explosion.
And this one was fantastic. It's great. You can see all the shrapnel flying, all the splinters and bits of wood and debris.
There was a couple of shots where I didn't think the actors were going to make it out of the blast radius.
That was huge.
Yeah.
So that was kind of worth it, I suppose.
Well, was he better? Yeah.
Leland comes walking through the fire. He's just like...
unscathed, like nothing. His hair's not even fucking moved. Like, he's just like, well, that's not my best work.
No, but he then turns to Ed Harris and he's like, we're not through right now, but in like 2075, your grandson or your great-grandson, me and him, there's going to be carnage.
Yeah.
And then he gets in his car and drives off into the ether as he disappears.
And you're like, oh, okay, thanks for the heads up.
I'm like, why didn't anybody even attempt to stop him? Like, not even arrest him, anything?
Dude, you just saw him, a big building explode and him walk out unscathed. Did you want to touch him?
I'd want to detain him somehow, you know? Like, chew his kneecaps out. I don't know.
Good luck with that.
They just didn't even try. They're just like, oh,
Yeah,
no,
they didn't even try.
get out of our town. Ian, did you have any favourite scenes?
I did have a few favourite sequences. I mean, Max von Sydow in a lot of his sequences was just great. I love the sequence where he'd written in his notepad and, you know, you kind of see his clawed fingernails. You know, I loved it where he was kind of sitting there and he's just listening to the music and it keeps cutting to the people going out to do their pranks, and it's like he's seeing them or influencing them, and so he's kind of laughing at it as well. I loved the Nettie Wilmer fight. Thought that was great. You know, I felt really bad for Amanda Plummer's character, especially with the dog being killed and being a dog lover myself. I was like, no, fuck you. And when Hugh got killed, I was like, yay! I really did laugh when Brian had messed up all the sheets and Wilma was walking to the house and then she walked right into it, because I like to imagine like she must have done that like every day, walked into her nice clean sheets, not had a care in the world, and today she's just had a mouthful of mud and fucking
turkey shit.
Yeah. The fight sequence between JT Walsh and the deputy, like I loved how that had all been building up. You know, the confrontation at the beginning with the tickets, it was something so small. And then it had been building up that he'd been stealing money. They even tried to set up Ed Harris, but then realized that actually, you know, he wasn't involved in it at all. You know, JT Walsh, when he goes mental and kills his wife, and then he's cleaning off the hammer, and then the ending with the explosive vest and the bomb, and just I loved it how Max von Sydow was just like, you're so pathetic and weak. I like it.
I like that in a human.
Yeah. It's just like, it's so good. It's such good acting. It's just like Gary said, some of the situations just felt like the pacing just, it would start well and then it's judder, and then start well and then judder, and then start well and judder, and then before you know it, the 2 hours is over.
Yeah, I don't really have that many favourite scenes in the film. I think the most horrifying sequence is the dead dog, like seeing that skinned skull come through. It's like, oh my god. I'm going to give it to Amanda Plummer as well. I really thought her portrayal of Nettie was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's something about that actress. She's just really endearing. So all of the scenes with her were really good.
Man, the opening of Pulp Fiction.
Right,
boom,
exactly.
Yeah.
But I think my favourite moment in the film is going to come from JT Walsh. Like, his lunacy.
Yes.
How deranged he becomes by the end. And it's after he's killed his wife and he picks up the phone and he's on the phone to Leland and he's just like, I just killed my wife. Is that wrong? Oh, God. Oh, God. But yeah, of course, other than that, Max von Sydow, he's just such a presence in this film.
Yeah.
It's worth recommending just for him, his greatness.
Yeah.
Ian, do you recommend Needful Things?
I do, but I don't recommend it as a film. There's only a few Stephen King adaptations that I think really work in film form, and those films had a lot kind of ripped out. You know, a lot of people complained that it, you know, they missed out this from the book and missed out that from the book. But when you look at things like Running Man and The Shining, you know, Misery, they're so kind of self-contained. It's brilliant that, you know, that they adapted so well. With this, I feel like if you were going to watch it, now I totally recommend you do because the performances are great. But if you were going to watch the first hour, then take a stop, go and do something, and then come back and enjoy the second hour. Try not to watch it all in one flow, because you might not see the same pacing issues that I saw, but there was a couple of moments where I was just like, you could have cut that bit. Maybe you should have fleshed that bit out a bit more. You know, maybe lose 30 minutes somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I need to go and watch the 4-hour one and be like, that's actually the best Needful Things you need to watch. But Max von Sydow, Ed Harris, JT Walsh, and Bonnie Bedelia's breasts. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You distracted me again. Yeah, I think I will recommend Needful Things. But I think this film is also just average at best, with some really good performances here and there, coupled with some gore and tension that prevents this slow burn from sending you to sleep. Max von Sydow is the primary reason to watch this. He is excellent here, as always, and he really carries the film. JT Walsh also turns in a memorable showing as he becomes more deranged throughout, becoming very comical and over the top. Amanda Plummer was also great, as was Ed Harris, but Nothing special from Ed. Ed Harris felt like he was just playing Ed Harris again. You know, the film, as we've said, has some serious pacing issues, and I don't think I could have taken another hour of this story in film format. Even though it has a made-for-TV look and budget, this version attempts to pack in so much, but left me feeling very little. Not much suspense compared to the amount of build-up, and the climax felt rushed and unfocused. It's not a bad film. It just has some character development that's really missing, you know, but there's a few moments that do work well, and it is fairly entertaining. And so if you like Stephen King stories, then it's time to head back to Castle Rock for another horror story. I think it's worth a watch. Buy now, pay later. Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
You're a disgusting man. I like that in a person.